Delaware Valley counts on Action News with the most accurate forecast, AccuWeather, Dave Roberts, Dave Frankel, and Cecily Tynan. Plus live traffic and transit reports that show you what's happening where no one else can. And Sky 6, your eye on the sky, from the highways to the airport to the shore. AccuWeather, live reports, and Sky 6. They're all why, when it counts, more people count on Action News.
Operation 6 Save a Life begins Tuesday at 6 a.m., 6 p.m. on Action News.
Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Cecily Tynan, Phil Andrews, and Rob Jennings.
Saturday night, 5 children are involved in a hit-and-run accident, and President Clinton signs off on 7 years to balance the budget. But the big story in Action News tonight is the biggest snowstorm since 1983 creeping toward the Delaware Valley. Let's go outside now to a hoarse Dave Frankel for the latest from AccuWeather. Dave?
Well, Rob, potentially one of the biggest storms ever in the Delaware Valley. It brings the potential for 1 to 2 feet of snow, and that is why the National Weather Service has posted a winter storm warning. We're calling it the blizzard of 96. We'll be talking about that this evening as to why it is a blizzard, and it will be 1 to 2 feet of snow. That's the total accumulation before this whole thing moves out, and that won't happen until sometime later on Monday. So it starts overnight tonight and then goes right through tomorrow and into Monday. By the way, folks down the shore, you do not escape it. You'll pick up snow. You also have a coastal flood watch in effect, and watch for this one by tomorrow morning, probably to go over to a coastal flood warning. But for now, it's a watch. Look for 50 to 60 mile-an-hour winds down at the shore during the storm, with flooding and beach erosion likelihoods over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'll show you action radar, and you'll see that the leading edge of the storm just about making it to the Delaware Valley. Storm is moving very slowly, which is one of the reasons it's going to dump so much snow. Now, the stuff that looks like it's falling over us now, still not reaching the ground, but over the next few hours, it will be. Here's the breakdown from AccuWeather. AccuWeather says that the snow should start in the overnight hours, sometime between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, so over the next 6 hours or so. The storm should peak tomorrow night, which means it's building all day tomorrow. There'll be times, especially as it approaches the peak, where it will be snowing at a rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour. That is a lot of snow, folks, and that's why it's going to pile up so quickly and so deep. Again, a foot or two a possibility. And the winds will be 40 to 45 miles an hour. You put that combination together with the snow and the cold temperatures and the high winds and the visibility that will be diminished, and that's why we are calling it the blizzard of 96. It's just hours away from starting. It'll be with us for a while, and boy, we're in for it over the next day or two. Rob will have the 5-day coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave. A snow emergency has already been declared in several communities, including Philadelphia. Here are other places we know of that have declared snow emergencies for tomorrow. Yeadon, Delaware County, in Montgomery County, West Norton and Cheltenham Township, and Newtown in Bucks County. A snow emergency is very important if you live on a street with a red and white sign, like this one at 63rd and Oxford in Overbrook. It means that by 8 o'clock in the morning, you should have your car off the street. That's so that plows, of course, can clear the roads. And if you do not remove it, a tow truck will. Some people have already heeded the warning. Failing to move your car can be costly. In Philadelphia, you'd have to pay $85 to get your car back if it is towed. PennDOT trucks will be laying down salt before the snow begins to fall. Some 25,000 tons is available for the 5-county area. Once the snow begins to pile up, the plows will be out virtually non-stop.
The only thing is if it's 24 inches, we have to do it so many times. So there is going to be times out there when it's going to be real snow covered. You may see 2-3 inches of snow on the highways. So it's going to be dangerous.
PennDOT is hoping a Sunday snowfall will mean fewer cars on the road so they can get things ready for the Monday morning rush hour, but they warn that even that will probably be tricky. Now, everybody's getting set for a winter siege. There's been a run on stores all day, and it's continuing tonight. Kristen Z's live in an Acme store on City Avenue. Kristen?
Well, Rob, this store closes at midnight, and normally by this late hour, it would be very quiet here. That's certainly not the case tonight. There's still steady traffic, as you can see, as shoppers rush in to get needed supplies before the snow hits. Checkout scanners were working overtime tonight at this Acme supermarket. Even with every line open, clerks had no time to rest, and people still had to wait. Shoppers descended upon the store all day in an effort to stock up before the storm.
Cereal, eggs, soups, crackers, lemon, hot chocolate. I get prepared. I don't like being outside in the cold weather. So I'm doing this, and this time I'm going to take my mom's hers so she don't have to come out.
There were so many shoppers loading up on the essentials that the store broke sales records today. Shopping carts turned into bumper cars, and all day long, employees kept restocking basic food items like milk.
Just a madhouse in here. Just a madhouse.
Rock salt was selling fast. 1,000 bags disappeared. Shovels were popular, too.
I want to be ready. I wasn't ready last time, so I figure this time I'll be ready.
Delaware shoppers prepared for the storm as well. Supermarkets like this one in Newcastle were busy late into the night. In New Jersey, people flocked to gas stations to fill up their tanks or buy fuel for their snowblowers. The Shell station in Pennsauken sold twice the usual amount of gas. And hardware stores recorded good sales figures as well. Lots of shoppers picked up salt and, of course, shovels.
There's going to be a lot of snow coming in. We don't want to take any chances, so we're going to buy a couple shovels here. Right, Jamie? Going to shovel the snow? Right?
Well, it didn't look like Jamie wanted to shovel snow now, did it? Well, most of us don't, but what can we do except maybe to be prepared? Reporting live on the Action Cam, I'm Kristen Z in Bala Cynwyd.
Thanks, Kristen. Many parts of our country are already feeling the effects of this storm. It's had an impact as far south as Dallas. They got a couple of inches of snow on top of ice, but everything should be okay for tomorrow's Eagles-Cowboys game. It'll just be cold there. And this the scene in Louisville, Kentucky. More than a foot of snow expected here. Traveling has come to a virtual standstill, and officials say just about every hotel and motel in the state of Kentucky is filled to capacity. Snow is also falling in North Carolina tonight. This is Asheville in the western part of the state. Several inches are already on the ground. Much more snow is expected before the storm ends. And be sure to stay with Action News for continuing coverage of this encroaching winter storm. And our expanded edition of the Action News Sunday morning broadcast begins tomorrow morning at 6:30. We'll be tracking the winters for some snowfall. Dave Frankel's here for Cecily tonight.
And Rob, it is going to be the blizzard of 96. Closing in on the Delaware Valley already, and let's walk you through what we're in for over the next day and a half or 2 days. First of all, here's what we can expect generally in and around the city: 1 to 2 feet of snow. Just slightly less if you're right along the water in New Jersey or Delaware. And as you go up toward the Lehigh Valley and in the Poconos, actually a little less because the storm won't get that far north, 6 to 12 there and 3 to 6 further north. Action radar shows us the system moving in, starting to overspread the area just to the south. Watch over the past 6 hours. This is since about dinner time, lifting up from the south and west, and it's a huge area of water. There is plenty of water to feed into this thing, and because the cold air is in place, most of it will be in the form of snow. And as we break it down for you, you'll see it is snow on the front end of this thing, and in fact, just snow for us. The icy mix and the rain will stay well to the south. We are not going to see that. Storm stats from AccuWeather. Looks like it starts in the overnight hours between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning officially. It will peak sometime tomorrow night, so it's building all day tomorrow. At times, as it approaches the peak, AccuWeather says we'll be seeing snow at a rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour and winds of 40 to 45 miles an hour. You put the snow and the winds and the cold temperatures and the low visibility all together, and it is the blizzard of 96. Let's check the call from AccuWeather. Well, it was 1821. It was on this date in that year that we got 1.5 feet of snow right here in Philadelphia. Sound familiar? 10 degrees was the low this morning, 20 degrees the high this afternoon. Temperatures in the cold teens for the most part. We'll check those 11 o'clock numbers for you. 19 degrees right now. Relative humidity 43%. Barometer's been up all day at 30, 40 inches right now, but starting to fall. Northeast wind at 9, wind chill 5 degrees. Northeast Philadelphia at 17 here on City Line Avenue, 20 in Center City, 19 at the airport, 18 degrees in Camden. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Snow moves in the overnight hours, 14 degrees the overnight low. It's a snowstorm tomorrow with 1 to 2 feet of accumulation, 22 degrees the high temperature. It continues into tomorrow night and in fact into a good part of the day on Monday with strong winds, blowing and drifting snow as well, 22 degrees. Winds down and ends Tuesday. We see a dry day but still windy and lots of blowing snow still around, 30 degrees the high, 35 partly sunny skies on Wednesday. And on Thursday some clouds, 38 degrees, and you don't want to know the rest of the story on Thursday.
We don't.
You don't.
That is our coverage of the winter storm for tonight. Be sure to stay with Action News tomorrow for continuing coverage.
This is a special edition of WeatherScope with the latest winter storm update.
It could be the biggest snowfall in over 20 years in the Mid-Atlantic, and we're watching it for you here at the Weather Channel. I'm Mike Seidel from Atlanta, and we have been following the storm since a couple of days ago, watching it develop through Texas, and now it's really coming in play through the Deep South. The snows that have advanced towards Washington and Baltimore, and by tomorrow morning, Philadelphia, New York City, you're going to get the brunt of this too, but not so much tonight or the early part of tomorrow, but Sunday afternoon and also into Monday before this thing finally moves off the northeast coast. It's going to be a bona fide nor'easter, and likely many of you in the Mid-Atlantic will have a blizzard condition. That means sustained winds of over 35 miles an hour, heavy snow, and temperatures below 25 degrees, all occurring at the same time. We want to show you where it wasn't quite a blizzard today, but it was snowing, and that's good for skiing in North Georgia. Out the view this half hour, this is a national shot, and you can get an idea of the movement of the clouds. And this is the jet stream dipping down and then coming up the eastern seaboard like this, and that is literally scooping up the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. There's a lot of cold air too coming down from Canada, and as they mix, we get the snowfall. And the storm is really taking shape now across the Florida Panhandle. Ahead of it, this is a warm front. South of there, temperatures tonight have been in the 50s and 60s, but just north of there, where temperatures are below freezing at the surface, from Greenville, Spartanburg, over towards Charlotte, over towards Fayetteville, up to the Raleigh-Durham area, that orange is freezing rain or sleet. And that is an area we really have to watch tonight, bridges and overpasses, because snow, at least you can get some traction, but freezing rain, it's like a skating rink, and it's just almost impossible to drive. We've got snow falling now from Nashville back through northern Alabama, actually. We've had some snow. Huntsville still getting freezing rain. Then we followed the snow Asheville up through the ski resorts around Boone, North Carolina. At least 14 inches. Roanoke in southwestern Virginia, you've been snowing at 2 inches an hour now for 2 hours in a row. 9 inches so far. And these are the areas where we could have easily 2 to 3 feet of snow by Monday morning. And now the snows are advancing up towards the Mason-Dixon line, not in Philadelphia yet, and not in New York. And as I think I said earlier, New York City, it's going to be sometime tomorrow midday before the snow really moves in to the Tri-City area. Back to the south, though, we're going to watch showers and thunderstorms tonight, and we're talking about some heavy rains moving through Florida in these areas, and we'll watch the possibility for some locally strong winds and heavy downpours. This is all snow back here from Mississippi into northern Alabama, moving towards the Atlanta area. Atlanta and up towards the upstate. Expect some more snow overnight. Atlanta, maybe an inch or less in the city, but it doesn't take much in the south to cause havoc on the highways. Today, people were lining up for the bread and milk, and you can't even find a loaf of bread now in the Atlanta area, all because of what's coming in. Upstate, a couple of inches in Greenville, Spartanburg. Now freezing rain and sleet. It's been snowing pretty hard around Greensboro at the rate of 1 inch to 2 inches an hour. And then you get over here and you get into the warmer air now feeding in off the coast, warmer in the clouds where the precipitation is manufactured, and that's why we're getting the freezing rain and sleet and not so much the snow anymore. This is where it's really going to be a big problem. Baltimore, Washington, the Baltimore and Capital Beltways tomorrow. Certainly it's Sunday, fortunately. A lot of you will be home watching it accumulate and not having to drive in it. It's snowing right now over on the eastern shore around Salisbury. Expect, though, as warmer air comes in from the Atlantic Ocean, that we're going to have to worry about a changeover through the Tidewater area and maybe up through these areas. You may get some sleet and freezing rain as some warmer air comes in briefly, but then as the storm goes on by, the colder air will come back in and it will change back over to snow. So anything that melts or turns slushy over on the eastern shore down towards Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Hampton Roads, that will freeze up. But it's snowing now pretty nicely around D.C., out in Gaithersburg and Montgomery County, snowing in PG County, up towards Baltimore, and those snows will be advancing towards Philadelphia tonight.